Alright, so there was a big info dump on Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade today. I wanted to cover that with you all, but I went ahead and did some more prep work than I usually do. I wanted to put together a little slideshow of some of the stuff they provided, so we're going to go over that. And all the information I'm taking from the official Final Fantasy VII Remake account for Intergrade. I'm on Twitter, and I'm also taking some of the translation stuff that was done by Audrey on Twitter today, so shout out to her. Always doing the big work with the translation stuff. I need to learn Japanese just so I can be on top of this stuff too. But anyway, before we get into it, if you all have not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that. Throw a like on the video if you are into it. Well, I appreciate all the love and support y'all been giving me. Also, make sure to check me out over here on Twitter, Instagram, Kaufman20XX, and if you like what I got going on, support me on Patreon for just $1 a month. You can get some extra stuff. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now let's talk about the whole concept, the Intergrade concept here real quick, because this information dump kind of throws a few things on us, and I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. Now, it has a couple of meanings, right? Now, as far as the name of the episode, the Yuffie episode is called Intermission. So this has a couple of different meanings I want to talk about real quick before we get into everything else. For one, the Yuffie mission happens around the middle of the game, meaning it would be a literal intermission from like the main party and the main story as you follow the exploits of Yuffie and Sonen. Right? So it's literally an intermission. It also plays on the word itself, saying that this is a mission that has been interjected into the story. So that's another way to look at it. But what else has an intermission? What else has an intermission? Right? Perhaps a play? You know? Who else is big into a certain play in the Final Fantasy VII world? That has had a big influence on Vice that we know is in this game now. After this info dump, we know he's got a higher role than just an optional boss in the simulator. Who had a big influence on him? Who have I been saying that people have fought me tooth and nail on is going to be a big part of Remake? Let's get into it. I'm really excited about some of the stuff they showed us today because there's a lot of character stuff, there's a lot of background stuff, story stuff, so we can kind of start to piece together the picture of what's going on in Intergrade. Instead of just guessing completely about it, we're kind of starting to put together, I'm starting to put together kind of a plot, synopsis, picture of what's happening. So right off the bat, they show off new renders of Yuffie. And these really look great. Like, this is the shot of her, her standard shot. You know, I love the way the armor looks on her shoulder, and she's got the little yellow sash. Her colors are blended in well, the little mesh. It's completely what it should look like. It's updated, it looks great. I love the way the armor and the leather looks, and then you've got her right arm and then the big cast thing on her left arm. Excuse me. And then everything about the character looks great. She's just updated, just like the other characters were in the first game. She's just updated. Of course, you got the really cool looking Moogle outfit, and then you've got her standard look, what she looks like over here. I love what they did with her. I am really excited about what she looks like in the future as far as like playing as her and everything. This is a great shot here because you kind of see kind of the texture and the fabric of everything, and then just she looks kid-like too, which I think is really good. Something to remember. I think she's what, 16 or something like that. I think she's like 16, and she looks like a 16-year-old, and she should. She's kind of bony, you know. She's kind of scrawny, and she should look that way. She's kind of tomboyish in a way, which I always thought was great about her character. And the detail, just the detail on everything. And they also did release a little write-up on her here. It says, this is a quote from her: "Before you stands a rare bloom, the single white rose of Wutai, the one and only Yuffie. A ravishing beauty, a world-class materia hunter, Yuffie Kisaragi styles herself as both, but she'll need to use all of her skills as a member of Wutai's elite corps of ninja operatives to sneak into Midgar." I think this is exactly what it needs to be. She looks great. The update is great. Now we've got Sonen. I think Sonnen looks great. I think what they're going to do with him, like if you look at the way the character is designed, there is a sympathy to the character, like his face. Of course, his main design looks great. The pole arm, and it's got that little bell on the back of it. It has a very Wu-Tai look to it, right? The red, the dark saturated colors, the gray, the dark. It has a very Wu-Tai look to it, and I'm digging it. Even down to the samurai armor that's kind of like sprinkled into his design is great. And then of course Wu-Tai, the ornament on the back end of it, that bell, it's really reminiscent of Wu-Tai. And I dig the stubble look with him, like he's kind of rough and tumble in a way. He looks great. I can't wait to. I think this guy's gonna bite it, but I think he's gonna be a great character. One of the many things about this game that they do well, I think, is so far from what we've seen, is really pulling you into the emotion of the characters. And I think this will be an emotional type of character. The write-up on Sonnen, this is a quick little, this is him talking to Yuffie, of course. Says, put the claws away, boss, at least while we're in Shinra territory. So it's like she's the boss, but he's kind of giving her some advice that, hey, we should do it this way. Don't be too crazy. Reintroducing Sonnen Kusakube, voiced by Alex Lay, a warrior hailing from Wu-Tai, accompanies Yuffie during episode intermission. Sonnen trained under Yuffie's father and harbors a deep resentment for Shinra following the devastation caused by the war between Shinra and Wu-Tai. He has been assigned to work with Yuffie as she infiltrates Midgar, essentially making her his boss. I really dig this because it establishes that Sonnen is powerful. He was trained by Godo, right? So he's going to be powerful, but he's also answering to Yuffie. So it's going to be situations, I think, interesting with those characters that you're going to see him kind of pulling her out of the fire, so to speak, when she's going headlong. And Yuffie probably won't be that great of a leader, but she is the boss on this mission. He has to abide by that, but he's going to be pulling her out of the fire quite a bit. And that could be what gets him killed. That might her decision. Something I feel like something about her decision in the game is going to be what gets Sonnen either taken or killed or something like that, right? I think them winding up in deep ground is going to have something to do with a bad decision from Yuffie. But anyway, let's keep rolling. Then you've got Nao. I think it's going to be Nao, however you say her name. She looks cool. She's definitely going to be some kind of like chief officer based on her write-up here. It says, this is her quote, says, this team up will be a bridge to the future, I just know it. A member of the main Avalanche branch, Naya was born in the slums. Hidden within the Sector 7 slums, she oversees the actions of the branch. She receives a request from the Wu-Tai government for assistance and helps them devise a strategy. She prepares the fake IDs that Yuffie and the others need to access the upper plate. So it says the Avalanche logo, that SO. I thought it would be something like senior officer or something like that, and it looks like that's going to be the case. She's going to be some kind of like higher up officer with an Avalanche, and that's kind of what we speculated, right? We kind of thought that would be her function in the game, and it looks like that's going to be exactly that. So then we're going to move on. They dropped a bunch of characters on us. So this one right here is I'm assuming you pronounce it Zhijie. It's Zhijie, but I think it's going to be Zhijie. Like I can hear like an anime character going Zhijie, you know. So this is his write-up. His quote says, "You" refers to you guys. It's like a secret word. I think this is him kind of telling them how they're going to sneak around and get around within Midgar while they're there under Shinra's nose. A Wu-Taian who lives in Midgar, he acts as the liaison between the Wu-Tai government and main Avalanche branch. With his street smarts and fast moves, he's been able to survive by slipping out of troublesome situations. He shows Yuffie around the Sector 7 slums. So okay, that's his function. He's the guy he's boots on the ground. He's the guy out and about, and he knows the ins and outs of Midgar. He's going to keep him safe. That's his role. So, and again, another guy I think could be on the chopping block. So this guy is interesting. This guy's name is Billy Bob, right? We don't know anything about him from the Intergrade trailer. And so his write-up is pretty interesting. It says, Midgar has Shinra victims too, don't forget that. So he's kind of like seeing things from opposing points of view, and that's important. Billy Bob is a member of the main... Billy Bob, no, I'm sorry. Billy Bob! Alright, so y'all know I'm from the South, so it's like, Billy Bob! I cringe at what the localization for this guy's voice is going to be. But anyway, I digress. Billy Bob is a member of the main Avalanche branch. He was born in the slums. Although he is extremely experienced, I misspelled that, sorry about that, experienced compared to the other members who are hiding in the Sector 7 slums, he doesn't use his experience, choosing rather a more laid-back personality. The man has a very high tolerance for alcohol and can drink as much as he wants without getting drunk. This is helpful for collecting intel from people at bars. So this is an interesting guy. He's going to be an intel guide. He's going to be able to kind of like buy shots for people and like Shinra managers and stuff getting drinks in the slums and be able to poach info from them because they are inebriated. Now this kid right here, this one right here is pretty interesting. His name's Polk. He is a new character that we don't know much about from the trailer. I don't think we saw this guy in the trailer. He says, "You're bored? How about playing Fort Condor?" Oh, I'm sure there's a reason for that. A member of the main Avalanche branch, Polk was born in the slums. He's the youngest member of the Sector 7 Avalanche branch in hiding. Everyone treats him like a younger brother, and even though they make fun of him, they all adore him. In regards to devising strategies, he's a big fan of the popular strategy game called Fort Condor. Now before we all go crazy here about the Fort Condor thing, right? Let's just try to theory craft real quick. Let's try to assume what this could be. Let's try to think about what this could be. Now, the first fear is that they are getting rid of Fort Condor, right? Which a lot of people liked Fort Condor. I can go either way on it, but it is important because that's where you get Phoenix. That we want to see that. We want to see what that looks like. We absolutely need to see what that looks like. I don't know. I've seen a couple of you message me, you've DM'd me about this part of it already. I haven't answered back, but I'm going to. But a lot of you all are thinking what I'm thinking already. And that this game, this mobile game that you can play Fort Condor, it's a tower defense game that you'll be able to play in the game based on the real Fort Condor area. And it could be a situation where the game is made by the people at Fort Condor to raise funds for tower defense and stuff there where Shinra attacks are. It could have any application to the real Fort Condor within the world, right? So I'm going to hold off judgment on this until I play it, because there will undoubtedly be some line or two lines of dialogue in this game that talks about the real Fort Condor if it is there. So I'm going to wait and not go crazy on this just yet. Okay, let's hope that Square Enix gets this right. So anyway, let's get back to it. He's interesting. I think he'll kind of be a tech strategist guy. It does talk about how he's into strategies and stuff like that, but I think he will use tech to devise strategies. He could be a gateway toward future mini games, toward future Gold Saucer stuff, actually, in a roundabout way. This guy could be our introduction to playing mini games at Gold Saucers. So I don't know. That's just my first knee-jerk reaction on this guy. But the jury's out, and we will see how it goes. But yeah, Polk, interesting looking guy. So we'll see how this goes with him and the other characters they introduced from Avalanche. So now we get into the battle. This is an awesome looking sequence. They released a lot of battle sequence stuff for this, and then you can see like the little the kanji or katakana there. Ninjutsu attacks. Alright, so ninjutsu attacks ideally deal non-elemental damage, but the ability Elemental Ninjutsu can change the attack's affinity to fire, ice, lightning, or wind, making it easier to exploit enemy weaknesses. This is dope. This is dope. I love this because this is kind of what I was hoping for. We saw those weird glyphs and stuff in her gameplay, so we knew her gameplay would be very different, right? So I'm excited to hear this. I wonder if maybe if you trigger this Elemental Ninjutsu, it will automatically trigger the enemy's weakness. I mean, I'm not really sure how that'll work. They will explain it more in depth, I'm sure. But for right now, it looks like this is this is just cool information, so I'm looking forward to that. I like that that's one of the things they focused on, was changing up combat. It really makes me hopeful for the characters still yet to come, the other main characters still yet to come. Another great shot, and I'm guessing this is from the Sector 2 area that we saw her and Sonnen running through. And these enemies we of course saw in Remake. The weapon will return to Yuffie automatically after a certain amount of time, but you can also retrieve it sooner by pressing triangle. So you can throw the shuriken, right? You can throw the shuriken, and if you need it back, because you're getting kind of swarmed or whatever, if you an aerial attack against an enemy and you need it back because you're about to get hit, you can call it back real quick. That's cool. That's a really cool aspect of her gameplay. Her gameplay looks super cool. And it also kind of answers, like, the elemental ninjutsu thing kind of answers a question too. I'm going to run this back for just a second here so you can kind of see. So like down here on her name in the HUD there, it's got this little see where my pointer is? It's got this little ice logo. So now that kind of answers what's going on with that. She's got the ice, so maybe you do switch back and forth between the elemental. She's got the ice on, and you can see the ice from the shuriken right there. So that's what that is. She's using elemental ninjutsu. And on the next shot, we go up here, it's grayed out. It's blank, because I think, as you see, she's not using any elements on the shuriken, so there's no element locked in. So I think that's cool. Okay, so now we know that. Now we know that's what that is. Awesome. Awesome. And this is a great shot. This is on the ground. This isn't Sector 7. I'm not sure. That kind of looks like Sector 6, outside of Sector 6 a little bit, but probably Sector 2, because we know they wind up in Sector 2. You can hurl her throwing star at an enemy with the triangle button. While Yuffie's weapon is away, tap square to perform a long-range ninjutsu attack. You can hurl her throwing star at an enemy with triangle button. He's away, tap square to perform a long-range ninjutsu attack. Cool. I like it. I like it. Her combat seems very cool, very different from everybody else's, right? Which gives me hope, again, for Sid and Vincent. This is another cool shot here. And again, no element on her shuriken. As you can see, there's no elemental stuff showing around. It says, press the square button to strike enemies with Yuffie's throwing star, and hold it to continue attacking while putting distance between you and their foe. That's awesome. That might be my favorite thing. Like, I love that. I love that. Like, you can let the shuriken keep attacking while you're retreating a little bit and give yourself space. Makes perfect sense for her, right? Makes perfect sense. She's not an ex-soldier. She's not a badass like... Well, she is a badass, but like Tifa and Barrett and Cloud have different reasons for maybe not needing to retreat and give themselves a retreat, right? Because maybe they have higher defense or something. Maybe Yuffie does not have very high defense. She does not have very high defense stats. That could be a big possibility. And strategically, you might have to use these retreat tactics to give yourself a little space between the enemies. She is primarily focused at being long range from what we're reading so far in the stuff that they've put out. So I'm really, and this right here looks really cool. I love this whole look. I love the glyphs that come up and how they look. Katakana, or what is the word for that? Please let me know. Yuffie's windstorm ability damages nearby enemies with a gust of wind and launches them towards you. That's awesome. So it's like a juggle, right? So it could be like a juggle attack. So you attack them, it puts them up in the air, and it pulls them towards you, and you can combos people. I think we're going to start getting combos, especially whenever we're getting tech attacks, dual techs. If I win some combos, man, they can really spice up what's already a great combat system with these ideas. I like where this is going. And this is the one I was really curious about, because you all know in the video, look at this shot right here of Yuffie, just down here. Look at her hair up, and like she's in it, right? She's got lightning. She's got the lightning hooked to the elemental ninjutsu. We know that now. We know what that is. And this glyph over here, I think they've explained before that when there's an opportunity for a dual tech attack over Sonnen right here, when this is lit up, you can hit L2 and do your dual tech attack. So we now know what these things mean. So that's awesome. I'm so looking forward to this. This looks great. This looks so good. So anyway, let's get into it real quick. That is a lightning tech she's using right there. Let me see. We're moving along here. Okay. The damage dealt by Yuffie's ability Banishment is increased by having spent ATB on other commands, and its elemental affinity can be changed with elemental ninjutsu. So that is its own thing. It's a special Yuffie ability, which we thought it might be, called Banishment. Increased by having spent ATB on other commands. So okay, so the more ATB that you burn on other commands, I guess it builds the power of the Banishment ability, and Banishment can be coupled with any element that you want from the way I'm reading this. Awesome. This is awesome. Like, I love this bit of information they put out today was great. It was great. It was excellent. I love this the breakdown of Yuffie's abilities here. It really gets me pumped to play this game. Like, I'm really excited about her part of the game now. So, now with that, all that being said, you all know the thing I am most excited about is this dude, Vice. The stuff they showed for him in this is awesome. Like, his render looks cool. I'm really digging the character design itself, and he's got the twin revolver swords. Like, they got the revolvers, they're gun swords but they're revolvers, which is so cool looking. You can see the Shinra logo behind the chamber above the trigger there, and this is such a cool looking design. And plus, he looks great too. I mean, look at this. This is a different render than what was in that trailer, and you can see the Shinra logo on the gun part of his swords back there. Let us raise the curtain on the beginning of what is called the end. A quote from Vice. So, what does that sound? Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Who is Vice hugely influenced by? Let's continue. Voiced by Damon Mills, Vice is the sadistic ruler of Shinra's top-secret underground research center, Deep Ground. Clad in immaculate white, Vice hones superhuman strength, is very charismatic, and very cruel. Out of fear of his unrivaled strength, Shinra has restrained him to a throne deep beneath Midgar. Only being released when he is being experimented on, he is kept under inhumane conditions where he bides his time, waiting to exact his revenge. This is the dude I'm most excited about in Intergrade, because this release now dispels the whole theory that he is merely some kind of secret boss in the AI simulator, right? No longer. Now, the matrixing and stuff happening behind him there, and by the way, like, his design is very matrixy, right? If we go back right here, this is very matrixy, right? And you can see on his boots there too. Something, if y'all know about me, character design wise, if you get some slick boots on a character, I'm in. His boots, everything, his pants, they all have this deep ground aesthetic to them. Like, he didn't so much look deep groundy in Dirge of Cerberus, but in this, they've kind of retconned his look a little bit, and like his character design, and it's very deep groundish, right? With the glowing kind of glyphs and strips and stuff on his stuff. His boots look dope. I think his overall aesthetic and design looks great, and I love that the sheaths for his swords are kind of beat up. Like, you can see some chipping and stuff down here, little attentions to detail. Like, he's seen some action, right? Like, he goes out and seeks, like, battle. I love the detail on the gun swords here, especially the barrels up here, how they look. And then down here, the hilt is very similar to Sephiroth's, right here. Very similar to Sephiroth's swords. Here, except for it's a gun too. So he's got a gun blade, it's a revolver, it's very cool looking. I'm all in for Vice. Now, that little quote, let us raise the curtain on the beginning of what is called the end. Who does that sound like? Now, you all know I'm all in on the Genesis stuff, right? I think he has a big thing to do with Genesis. It sounds eerily close to the Japanese translation from Genesis line at the end of Dirge of Cerberus. Now, full transparency, a lot of you all have already put this together. By the time this video comes out, a lot more of you will have put this together. But at the end of Dirge of Cerberus, he has a translated line for the Japanese version. It's different from the English version. It says, "Together, let us raise the curtain on the final act." That's from Genesis at the end of Dirge of Cerberus, as he's holding Vice. As he's holding Vice's dead body. This shows the influence of Genesis on Vice. Vice is heavily influenced by Genesis. I think that's going to play through, and now I'm kind of starting to lean toward and warm up to the idea that we may see Genesis at the end of Intergrade. I think we might. So yeah, I'm all in on Vice. I think I didn't like his character that much in Dirge of Cerberus. He's just kind of like a big, strong, bad guy at the end of the game. But it looks like they are going to be doing a lot more with these characters. He looks fantastic. All the other characters look great. They're going to be fleshed out. He's going to be fleshed out. He will not be just an optional boss in the AI simulator. But I'm going to leave it at that. So let me know what you all thought of the video. If you're into it, if you dig the content I got going on, throw a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the hell out of you all. You all are killing it. Appreciate all the support. And if you're feeling really froggy, you can support me on Patreon. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Coppin20XX, as you see up there in the corner, and become a YouTube member. So until then, until next time, you all have a great day. Be good to each other. Be safe out there, and keep rocking. And I will see you all in the next video.